This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. This is the show where we help people build wealth, do work that they really love and that matters, and create actual amazing relationships, as opposed to fake Facebook friends. Yeah, we want you to have like real friends, ones that'll show up and help you change a tire and stuff. Yep. George Camel, Ramsey personality, host of the podcast, the Entree Leadership Podcast, which I just listened to, the one that dropped Monday, George.
Oh, Ed Milet.
Ed Milet.
He was a great guest.
He's a rock star, man. It was really good. Very well done. Any of you need leadership information and business information, the Entree Leadership Podcast is one of the top podcasts in the world. One of the first ones to step into that space many, many years ago.
You're doing it before it was cool.
It was a podcast before this was a podcast.
Wow.
This was just on the radio.
That's impressive. Ahead of its time.
Yeah, we had it as a podcast before I could spell podcast. So there you go. Okay, open phones here. We're going to talk to you about all of your life. In other words, that's what the Ramsey Show's about. It's about the whole thing. The phone number is 888-825-5225. Jasmine's in Dallas, Texas. Hi, Jasmine. How are you?
Hi, Dave. I'm fine. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
Excited to be talking to you. Hi, George. A little background. I use the baby steps.
Whoa, slow down. You're going to have to get into your phone, girl. You're talking off in a distance. We can't hear you. Speak directly into your phone.
Can you hear me better? Can you hear me better now?
A little bit. Let's try that.
Okay. I used the baby steps to get out of debt in 2017. Lifelong listener, and now I'm doing estate planning. And I wanted to know, would it be better for myself and my family to have all of my assets tied up in a will, a trust, or both?
Just a will. All you need is a will. There's only a couple times you would use a trust. One is if you've got in excess of $20 million, you need to start talking about doing some estate planning that might involve a marital or an AB trust. It's talked about. If you have a special needs child, sometimes you will have a trust formed at your death to take care of that, called a special needs trust. Money dumped into that trust to care for that child. If you have minor children, you could have a trust formed at your death at the direction of the will, but you wouldn't need to do it now. That would just be a family trust to take care of your kids until they reach 18. We had that set up when our kids were minors, and you can put all of that just in the will. What you do need, in addition to the wills, you need a health care powers of attorney and a living will. The living will is the unplug or not unplug document. You go ahead and tell everybody what's going to happen, and so they don't have to go to court and argue about it. And the doc knows, and the husband knows, and everybody knows. It's all written down. This is what Jasmine wants to have happen if she's comatose or whatever the situation is. And you can lay all of that out, and everyone should. It's a gift to the rest of the family to not have to sit and go, well, I don't know, I believe this and I believe that. And, really what matters is what Jasmine believes in that situation.
Yeah. And Dave, riddle me this. I've heard people say that, well, with a revocable living trust, you avoid probate, and so it's worth it to get a trust for that reason. What are your thoughts on that? Probate
in most states is 3%. And the revocable living trust will cost you more than 3% of your assets, because most of the time they're $1,500 to $3,000 to put one together. And so a lot of the, not a lot, some of the people in the estate planning community have seen that as a way to make money.
You make more money if you set up a trust versus help them get their will set up.
Exactly. And you got to have a will anyway. Either way, you got to have a will, whether you have a irrevocable living trust or not. And there's a lot of problems with irrevocable living trusts. I wouldn't fool with one. Matter of fact, my net worth is way in excess of $20 million, and I don't have a living trust at all. Everything I have, I don't even have a trust. I've got a bunch of companies and LLCs that will. No, we do have one trust on one piece of property that's set up. It had to be set up that way.
So one reason to do it is to protect some of your assets by putting them into the LLC or a business entity. Exactly.
And so, but again, if you've got huge, so let's say you had $10 million, 3% would be $300,000. in taxes. You might think if you had a $10 million asset and your state, it's a state tax, it's a probate tax, it's not federal. You got no federal income, no federal taxes on an estate of $10 million. But if you're going to leave $10 million in a state that has a 3% probate tax, that's going to cost them $300,000. Okay, so now you might, if it's all, let's say it's a $10 million piece of property, if you put that in an irrevocable living trust, it's a fairly singular transaction. It's easy to manage. It's not a big problem. Not a lot of stuff going on, and so forth. And that you'd spend $3,000 in legal fees and save $300. Then that's fine. You don't own the property anymore. The trust now owns the property, but you're the beneficial interest and you're in control of the trust, so it's all the same thing. The problem with this thing, though, and Jasmine, so you just need to go to like mamabearlegalforms.com, get your will done, and do a living will, which is a healthcare power of attorney and unplug or not unplug deal. That's simple. Just do the basic documents for an estate plan, unless you have a sizable estate, and then you can start talking about that. But here's the thing, George. Let's go back into it, because let's just get down the nerd weeds a minute. The nerd weeds on this stuff.
This is my favorite place to be. Nerd weeds.
Well, we need a weed eater. So, if let's say you had $10 million worth of assets and you didn't want to pay the $300,000, but it's like 25 or 30 different things, okay? Now you've got to retitle all of your mutual funds, all of your anything you want to hide from this probate tax. You have to reset the name on it, retitle your car, retitle your house.
Nothing can be
retitle the family farm into the name of the trust. Anything that's not in the name of the trust is subject to probate tax. So what happens is, I read an article in Financial Planning Magazine a couple years ago, 78% of the time, this is 8 out of 10 times, people spend $1,500 to $3,000, have this trust, which is basically a hollow thing. You have to put things in the bucket.
Shell.
It's a bucket.
Yeah.
You have to put things in the bucket. And then they never move the titles to the stuff into the bucket.
So it's just an empty trust.
So it's an empty shell. There's nothing in there.
Oh, boy.
And so they still get all the taxes. And so the reason I didn't start with that years ago, I had a guy recommend it years ago, was I got looking at it and I went, every time I saw a dadgum car, I got to go through a trust movement. Every time I saw a piece of real estate, I got to go through a trust movement. Screw it. I'm just going to, no. But now I do have this property right here, which is worth, I don't know, $500 million or something. It's all sitting in one trust. And that's for beneficiary, for the probate aspect, but also now all the gains on this property from the time above what we've put into it.
Which it's appreciated.
Right. Appreciate. As it goes up in value, generations don't pay taxes on it, estate taxes on it. So it removed the whole thing except for the original cost from the estate tax equation. So huge move from that standpoint. Definitely worth it. But again, it's one piece of property. I got no hassle factor. I'm not having to move stuff in and out.
Yeah.
I'm not having to work with trustees and lawyers every time I make some transaction. I'm not having to write checks out of a trust bank. Oh, God, it drives me nuts.
Wow.
So, no, it's very, very impractical for 99% of the people out there. Don't screw with it. There we are. We're out of the nerd weeds.
Thank you for taking us there.
This is The Ramsey Show.
So, Dave, we just celebrated Memorial Day, and coming up we have Independence Day, but there's another holiday that is one of my personal favorites, and that is National Insurance Awareness Day. I know you're a big fan. We celebrate every year. We throw a big party.
George,
with all of our friends.
Sarcasm will get you everywhere.
I'm just saying.
National Insurance Awareness
It's a real
Day
thing. June
is a
28th.
real day.
Mark your calendars, June 28th. We're throwing a party.
Not really.
Boy. That's about as exciting as a Tupperware party.
You don't know what that, people don't know what that is, George.
I'm that old.
Yes, you are.
Here's the thing. We talk about insurance a lot on this show, and we like to nerd out on it, but it's one of the most crucial things people need to get in place. And here's the bad news. There's a lot of crappy types of insurance you don't need, some crazy types, and there's only a select few that are actually helpful as you build wealth to protect your assets.
Absolutely. You know, the big thing we always teach in Financial Peace University and have taught for years is the thing you want to use insurance for is to cover things you can't afford. Okay, so if you're broke and you don't want to self-insure through a $5,000 car, you can't afford to lose that car. You need to have it insured, right? If you got $500,000 in the bank and you're driving a $10,000 car, you could self-insure through that if you want to. But insurance is for transferring the risk of things that you cannot handle the risk, like the burning down of your house. Most people, that would destroy their lives financially. And so you got to transfer that risk.
And we've heard countless really sad stories on the show of people calling in with whether it's a house fire or someone died without, term life insurance in place, or they didn't have the right health insurance and they go bankrupt because of medical bills. And so it's one of the things that, yes, we like to have fun and make fun of the fact that insurance is boring, but it's one of the most important things you need if you're going to follow the Ramsey plan. You've got to have the right types of insurance in place. And one of the main types is home and auto. These are two of your biggest purchases you'll ever make, your biggest assets. You've got to have the right home and auto. A lot of people have auto, right? It's the law, but they may not have enough coverage inside of that policy. So that's one of the main areas you've got to look at and go, do I have enough to cover if I need this home insurance?
Yeah, you're walking around with $100,000 worth of liability. You're a lawsuit looking for a place to happen. Somebody's going to sue you into bankruptcy if you get in a bad wreck. Because $100,000 won't cover 10 minutes in a hospital for the other guy that you hit accidentally.
Yes.
And it's called an accident for a reason. You would never do it on purpose. But the guy's in the hospital. It's your fault. That family's going to come after you, and the insurance company's going to write a $100,000 check so fast, and it's going to leave you on the hook for the other $500,000 in ICU bills, and you're bankrupt. You've got to have the coverages on the liability side. It's a big deal.
That's a big one. And with that, there's umbrella insurance. We talk about this, and people go, do I need umbrella insurance? And this sits kind of on top of those home and auto policies to cover you in case of those lawsuits. And we tell people not to worry about umbrella insurance until you've built a certain level of wealth.
Yeah, you got a $500,000, $1 million net worth. Now you're a target. If something happens, go ahead and pick you up $1 million umbrella
If someone bumps
policy.
into Dave Ramsey in a fender bender, they're going, I just hit Dave Ramsey. Payday.
Yeah. Ding, ding. Woohoo! Yeah.
Don't try it, by the way. If you're driving behind Dave, don't just hit him for fun. Please don't do that.
Well, you'd have to catch me. But so anyway, the thing is, the umbrella policy is only a couple $100, usually $250, $300 for an extra $1 million worth of coverage. It's a really good buy.
Yeah.
And we do recommend it.
And the reason it's cheap is because you rarely have to use it. But when you do, you're really glad it's there.
Yeah.
Once your coverage runs out on your current policy. So that's a good one to remember as you start building wealth. Another one, we just took a call about wills, but term life insurance alongside a will is so important. If anyone relies on your income for term life, and a will for everyone. Every single American needs a will.
Yeah, 15 to 20 years of level term, and the amount you would buy would be about 12 times your income. 10 to 12 times, we say, but 12's good. So if you make $50,000 a year, you got $600,000 on you, you die, mom puts $600,000 into some mutual funds, it creates $50,000 to $70,000 worth of income. We have replaced the income that you used to create for your family. That's the purpose of life insurance. Nothing else. All your investments ought to be in investments, not in life insurance.
Yes, don't trust anyone who wants you to get into whole life because it's a great investment on top of being life insurance. Terrible deal.
You never do that.
And 2021, here's a sad stat. 55% of Americans didn't have a will, which means family fights, which means the government and courts deciding what happens. I don't like that future for anyone.
I've seen numbers higher than that.
Wow.
I think it's a lot higher than that. But anyway, it's too many don't have a will.
Too many. Another one is health insurance, and most people hopefully have this in place. I took a call last week where someone didn't have health insurance, and as my A1, you need to get health insurance today.
Yes.
And it's because medical debt has been the number one cause of bankruptcy in the U.S. It's so easy to bankrupt on. We just heard a team member story of being in the hospital, $1 million bill. Luckily, they had insurance, but that's the bill.
Yeah. Yeah,
Scary.
and the number one cause, and it's not even necessarily the $1 million bill that bankrupts somebody. It's you got no insurance. I mean, the copays alone can get you, but, health, if you think, okay, what is the number one cause of bankruptcy? Medical bills. The number one way to get rid of that, health insurance. It's a no-brainer. You got to do it.
And even if you don't have it through your employer, if you can get it in the marketplace, do it whatever way
you can get it. You can get Obamacare. I mean, it's out there, and a lot of states, Blue Cross Blue Shield or whatever. But jump in there and get some health insurance. Go with an HSA. A lot of times that's going to be cheaper for you. At least get the big stuff covered so it doesn't bankrupt you.
Yes, and if you're healthy, I love a good high deductible healthcare plan with an HSA. That's what I do here at Ramsey.
Me too.
And it's a great option. Alongside that, long-term care. Something a lot of people don't have in place. We recommend getting this when you're 60 or older to cover nursing home stays, in-home care, things that can rack up really quickly.
Yeah, $300,000 is your exposure on that, typically, statistically, and that's about all you can get in coverage anyway. And so you get covered for about $300,000, and that keeps. If you're very wealthy and you got $5 or $10 million, you can self-insure. If you're completely dead dog broke, well, you're going to be on welfare anyway, called Medicaid, and the government's going to provide nursing home. But if you're everyone else who's in the middle between those two things, and you're over 60, 75% of you ladies will outlive your husbands. And so what happens is Papa goes in the nursing home. They got $300,000 in savings. They end up spending it all on Papa's care. He dies. Mama's left broke. And that's from not having good long-term care life insurance or long-term care insurance. Don't put life insurance in there. That's why it slipped out. I was just going to remind you of that. They're starting to bundle it with some life insurance. Don't do that. Don't bundle it with savings. Simple nursing home or in-home care insurance, and it typically is going to cover around 3 years, 4 years worth of coverage is about all you can get, and $300,000 or $400,000 is what you're really at risk for.
Yeah. So if on your 60th birthday, gift yourself the gift of long-term care. There you go.
There you go.
Long-term disability, another one, very different, but this provides an income for you and your family if you can't work.
Yeah.
And this is something a lot of people don't have in place.
It's one of the most underinsured areas because people just don't look at it that much. And really, the one stat I saw said you're 12 times more likely to become disabled than to die by age 60.
Wow.
And so if you're like 25. So disability is a bigger problem than death, in other words.
Yeah.
Plus, you got to hang around with you. So
That's true.
There's that part too. So, you need to get long-term disability. Don't bother with short-term disability. It's gimmick insurance. You're going to have your emergency fund in place.
You've got that to cover you.
You're going to have a good plan. You're going to be working the Ramsey plan, all that kind of stuff. But long-term disability, if you can get it through work or through a group plan of some kind, is by far the cheapest.
Yeah. And that's what we have here at Ramsey. It's covered. Thank you, Dave.
We provide it because honestly, it's not that expensive as a benefit for an employer to provide. If you're a small business person, it's something you can actually buy for your team. Unless you're in a blue-collar trade, which the trade you're in will affect your disability insurance more than your age or even your health.
Makes sense.
So if you're working with your hands and you're swinging 3 tons of I-beams around, harder to get coverage on long-term disability than it is if you're flying
a desk job.
If you're flying a desk job.
Yeah. Well, the last one's identity theft protection. Not quite an insurance, but very important to have in place as more and more people are shopping online. I've experienced this. Luckily, we have Xander's ID theft protection for our whole team. They help me avoid a 600-hour mess. So here's the deal. We threw a lot at you. We just launched a 5-day series, an interactive guide. I'm going to walk you through this stuff in less than 3 minutes a day. You can go sign up for this at ramseysolutions.com/confidence. I promise it's the most exciting insurance video series ever created because
Which
the bar
is a
that
low bar.
It's so low.
It's a low bar.
I jumped over it. So go sign up, ramseysolutions.com/confidence. You'll thank me later.
It's called Confidence in Your Coverage, and all joking aside, it's really good. Georgia's done a great job with this 5-day interactive guide, Confidence in Your Coverage. Go watch it. It's free. George Camel Ramsey personality is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us, America. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Maurice and Z are with us in Phoenix, Arizona. Says on my screen, you guys are debt-free. Congratulations.
Yes, Dave. What's going on, man?
Thank you. It's good to hear from you all.
You too. Congratulations. How much have you paid off?
We paid off $62,000, Dave, in 10 months.
Good for you. And your range of income during that time?
It was $135,000, Dave.
Oh, I love it. Good for you. Yeah. So what kind of debt was the 62?
So the debt consisted of, it was $3,000 from the IRS and then also $59,000 from Navient. We kicked Navient out the basement.
Woo. Get rid of ugly Uncle Navient. I love it.
That's right.
Yeah, he's a brother to Sally Mae. Brother and sister of ugly.
They might be kissing cousins.
They're brother and sister of ugly. I love it. You guys are awesome, man. Congratulations. What made you decide to do this 10 months ago?
Honestly, Dave, I got put on to you in 2017 from my cousin Ashley, and she gave me the Total Money Makeover, and so I read that, and then I also was able to hear one of your, you was talking about how to become an everyday millionaire on YouTube. And so after hearing that, I was just sold because, you know, where I'm from, we only talk about, you know, becoming a millionaire. You have to, you know, play a professional sport or just, you know, blow up and be famous. So after I heard that, you know, regular people can do it, I was just sold. And then I put my then, you know, girlfriend Z on to you back then in 2017.
Yeah, and so back then, I only had a car payment. That's pretty much the only debt that I ever carried, and I was living with my parents, and I wanted to move out, and so I was like, I read your Total Money Makeover, and I was like, wow, I could, you know, just pay off my car payment. I'm living rent-free. I don't really have bills. Like, why am I sitting on this? So I paid my car off fairly quickly and moved out on my own, and the rest is history.
Wow. All right. How long y'all been married?
We've been married for 1 year and 4 months, Dave.
Okay. So when you get married, you decide, all right, we're really doing this. Whatever debt is left, we got to clean up, and it's old Uncle Navient.
Yes, Dave. And unfortunately, you know, I brought the debt into the marriage. So, when we got married, we cash flowed our wedding. That consisted of $20,000. And then we hit the ground running, Dave, just, you know, working extra jobs. I remember working, you know, 6-7 days a week sometimes. Z was also putting in extra work as well and delaying, you know, that gratification, right, and just not going on vacation, you know, telling friends no, you know, when we wanted to go out. And we were just locked in and had the tunnel vision, Dave.
Wow. What was the highest paying side job you guys did?
I would say the highest paying side job I did was officiating youth football on the weekend.
Oh, nice.
So I made some pretty good money doing that. Yeah, it was fun, man.
What's that pay?
It pays $50 a game, Dave. So I would do anywhere from 4 to 5, sometimes 6 games a Saturday.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that can add up. Yeah.
Crushing it.
That's good.
So you guys saw what was on the other side of debt freedom, and that excited you.
Absolutely.
And you were willing to do whatever it took to get there. In 10 months, and we're not talking about, you know, 8 years of sacrificing and not living and doing these side jobs. For 10 months, you can do just about anything.
Yeah, but I got to go back. Maurice, there's part of the story I'm troubled by. I don't understand. You started in 2017, but you didn't really start.
Well, I started I paid off my car, so that was like one of the biggest things, but so yeah.
Well, I think though what I'm saying is when Z came into the equation, you got with it.
Oh, absolutely. I kicked it into high gear for sure.
That's what the calendar tells me. About the time she showed up, we got rid of Uncle Navient.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
All right. It was a lot of theory until Z, and Z's kicking it in gear now. Am I missing something?
Yeah. No, I'm definitely a numbers person, and so in order to come into this marriage, Maurice knew, like, okay, we actually have to have a plan. We have to get this done.
Yeah.
And there's no way that this was just going to linger around in our marriage. So, yep.
Now, Maurice, take notes on this, because next time you bring something up, she's going to make you do it, okay? I'm just saying. I like it. This is good. Y'all are awesome. You're fun. Way to go. I'm so proud of you. How's it feel to be free?
Man, it feels great, Dave, just to be able to, once the bills are covered, just to look at the budget and just see all that extra freedom that we can do, where, right now, saving for a home right now. So that's exciting. So it just feels amazing. It gives a better sense of peace, going to bed at night. And then also, too, it relieved a lot of tension within our marriage as well.
Yeah. I do love what you said earlier, Maurice, when you said, because you're like me, you said I came from a neighborhood where we thought the only way to, be wealthy was to be famous or something, and be an athlete or somehow become famous. And when you actually understand the numbers and you start to go, hey, if guys that come from a neighborhood like Maurice or Dave can do this, anybody can do this, right? And that's a good message for everybody to hear.
Absolutely, Dave. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Because, just like you said, Dave, where I'm from, this is what you see, just people going to the NFL or NBA, but people don't talk about the grind, just living under your means, right? Living debt free. And that provides a lot of freedom in your life. So, yes, that's absolutely correct.
Well, proud of you guys again. So awesome. Who are your biggest cheerleaders outside the two of you? Who was saying, go for it, you can do it?
Yeah, we had a ton of family and friends who knew about us being on this journey, and they would cheer us on. But I have my best friend, Sydney, who you all got to speak with her a couple of months ago. She called in and did her debt-free scream from Phoenix as well. I remember we started our journey together at the beginning, and we actually finished around the same time. I remember calling, after a long day at work and things of that matter, and we would call each other and just talk about, like, what the first thing we were going to buy when we were debt-free, what we were going to do. And so it just, it was really nice just having her along this journey with us. We kind of were a trio here.
That's cool. That's very good.
Yeah.
Well, we got a copy of Baby Steps Millionaires for you. That's the next chapter in your story for sure. You guys are on your way, Maurice. You're going to be a Baby Steps millionaire, man. I want to talk to you on the on that hour when we're doing that hour one of these days, and I'll remember talking to you today when that happens. And also send you a copy of Total Money Makeover, which you can hand out to someone and get them started. That's what got you started. I'm also going to send you a 1-year subscription to Financial Peace and Every Dollar through Ramsey Plus. And if you've not been if you've not been through it, you guys go through it as a wedding gift. If you have been through it and you want to give it away to somebody and get them started, a lot of people buy these 1-year subscriptions and give them away. So whatever you want to do, we're going to send it to you either way. And we're just proud of you guys. Way to go.
Amazing.
Thank you so much, Dave.
All right.
Appreciate it, man.
You bet. Maurice and Z, Phoenix, Arizona, $62,000 in 10 months, making $135,000. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. We're debt free!
That's how it's done right there, man.
You don't need to wait on student loan forgiveness. You can just kick Uncle Navian out yourself. It's
Uncle
more
Navian.
Enjoyable that way.
And he's the bothersome old uncle, not the cool uncle.
He's a little creepy.
He's not. He's the creepy
He's
uncle.
always hanging around.
He's in the bedroom, won't leave. He just sleeps all the time.
Asking for money every month.
He
bum.
wants money all the time. He's always standing around with his hand out.
That's so true.
And he learned it from his his cousin Sally.
That's right.
So, they're everybody's got relatives, one or two like that you just don't want living with you.
No.
Uncle Navian and Sally, they got to go, people.
They get their own place.
And let me just tell you, Uncle Joe's not going to get rid of them.
Try as he might.
He's going to talk about it, but he's an enabler.
That's a good way to put it. Never heard it said that way.
In so many ways. This is The Ramsey Show. Imagine the energy of a jam-packed arena filled with people ready to experience what it means to live life to the fullest. Picture that with your favorite speakers on one stage, empowering you with tools and principles that'll create unstoppable momentum in your life. That is one of our live events. That is Smart Conference. We just came back from 3,000 folks, business leaders in Orlando at Entree Leadership for 4 days. And before that, we had 3,500 on a Thursday night there in Orlando for a Building Wealth live event with George and me and Rachel and Dr. John Deloney. And who else was there? Ken Coleman was there. Yeah. So the Smart Conference is expanded version of everything. It is leadership, it's wealth, it's achieving your goals, it's your relationships, it's your mental health, it is your career. We're going to spend the entire day, your marriage. Pastor Craig Groeschel, Amy Groeschel from Life Church are going to be there talking about marriage. We're going to touch on every area. Wow. Pretty cool, and you don't want to miss this. Tickets are only $39. That's a great price for a full-day event like this. It is about 50% sold out. It is going to be in Dallas, and it'll be October the 22nd, all day that Saturday. Go ahead and get your tickets now before they get sold out. If you haven't noticed, anything that is a live event, people are gravitating to like never before. Our events are selling out very, very quickly. Fastest in a long time.
People are ready to get out.
So everything we're touching right now is selling out. We have nothing left but fall events right now anyway, and they're all 50 to 75, 85% sold out, and they're still months and months and months away. So if you want tickets to these, are $39 for the whole day.
Amazing.
You will leave the day smart. That's how it works. All right. Matt is with us in New York City. Hey, Matt, how are you?
Hey, Dave, how are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Nothing much. So I have a couple questions regarding my finances. So I'm 22 years old. I'm currently serving in the United States Air Force in the Air National Guard. And I'm about $6,000 right now in debt. I'm looking to move out of my parents' house, who I'm currently living with right now, looking to move out of their house in about 3 to 4 years and get my own place down in Florida. But I do not have any sort of discipline whatsoever when it comes to saving money and budgeting.
Okay, hard stop. Oh, I got to catch up here. You're in the Army National Guard, did you say?
Air National Guard.
Air National Guard. Okay, and you're how old?
I'm 22.
And that's a part-time gig or a full-time gig?
That's a part-time gig.
Okay. What's your full-time job?
Yes, sir.
What is your full-time job?
I'm a private investigator.
Okay. And the National Guard is typically done state by state, is it not? Can you transfer to Florida?
Yes, I can.
Okay. But you went through a boot camp regiment to join, right?
Yes, sir.
And they taught you discipline, right?
Sort of. I went to boot camp amidst this COVID, so it was really sort of shorthanded with the boot camp and discipline and what they can do and what they can't do, and everything like that.
Gotcha.
So it was the shorter version.
So what do you make as a private investigator? Your phone is screwed up. You need to speak directly into it.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. That's better. Thank you.
Thank you. So I work about 50 to 55 hours weekly. The pay is $18.50 an hour.
Uh-huh. And so why does it take 3 years to move to Florida?
Just saving up money.
You make plenty of money. You must be partying your butt off.
Yeah, Matt, where's the money going currently? Do you know?
Really have no say with that. I really don't. Really don't know.
Okay.
I think it's more so my problem of going out during the week and not budgeting and not saving my money.
Yeah, every night. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like there's your problem and there's your solution. I think we need to stop going out and start getting on a budget, making a plan, having a goal set in front of us, which you told me your goal is to move out. So I'm going to use that to fuel my savings habits and go, you know what? I'm going to cook at home. And if they want to hang out, they can come to my place. I'll go to their place. We're going to do this on the cheap because I got goals. I'm going to get out of this $6,000 in debt. I'm going to have an emergency fund so I don't have to worry about getting that next paycheck if it doesn't show up. And then we're going to go about the business of saving up to get out of that house. And I don't think you need to be buying a house right now. Go rent somewhere, even if you move to Florida for a while.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could be debt-free, move out, everything within just a few months here. But you're going to have to really make every dollar that you have behave. And so here's a rule I always use, Matt. You can't out-earn your stupidity. I tried. You can't make enough to not know where the money's going. No one can make that much. That's how people that make $10 million as an athlete look up a few years later and they're broke. Because they have no idea. And they say the same thing you said and the same thing I used to say. I don't know where it went. I don't know where it went. And so you don't want to wake up that way at 30 years old, man. You're calling at 22. The great news is you're only 22. And so it's time to get with it. Time to throw your shoulders back and be a grown-up and stuff. And that means you're going to I want you to pretend like you're managing this money for someone else, and it's your job to manage the money well. And if you don't manage the money well, you're going to get fired because you suck at your job. Pretend that. And that helped me because as a Christian, I started going, this isn't my money, it's God's, and I suck at managing God's money, and then I want him to give me more. To which he laughs and says, no, you suck at handling my money. It's in the Bible.
I like picturing that. Yeah, is that Second Opinions? That's where that one came from.
No, it's in the Parable of the Talents, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's
right. Yeah, when you don't manage well, he not only doesn't give you more, he takes it from you and gives it to the one who does manage well. It's in the Bible. And so, yeah, that's the thing. I always tell audiences, Matt, I'll tell you, pretend like you were managing money for a company called You Incorporated, and your job was to manage money for You Incorporated. That's your job. Now be good at your job. As soon as you do that, you're going to find you got money everywhere. And you're going to be looking at your party bubbas and saying, nope, 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 nope.
And at 22, there's
got
lots of
bigger
reasons.
goals than drinking beer all night. Got bigger goals, smoking dope all night. I got bigger goals than this. We got stuff to do here. We're going to be a grown-up, pay off our debt, move out of the house, go to Florida. Got bigger goals.
You want to live a grown-up life, you got to do grown-up stuff.
And, I meet 62-year-old children, and I meet 22-year-old grown-ups. So it's not an age thing. It's just a matter of the one definition of maturity is learning to delay pleasure for a greater good. And so am I willing to pay a price for something better? Am I willing? No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but it yields a harvest of righteousness. The way we say it around here is that way, and we also say, live like no one else so that later you can live and give like no one else.
Mm. But that requires having a vision for your life.
There you go.
Where there is no vision, the people perish. And so you've got to have those goals in front of you, or else you won't have any real reason to manage your money well.
Honestly, it is easier to overeat, overdrink, and be broke. Except for the part when you wake up.
It's fun for a little while.
And you're fat and hungover and broke. I mean, it's a problem. And so, it's easier in the moment. But it's easier in the long term. Because here's the thing. A guy I used to work for used to tell me this all the time. He said, you're going to pay a price. You're either going to pay a price now so you win, or you're going to pay the price of not having paid a price and live a life of mediocrity. Ooh. And the life of mediocrity is the price you pay for being a half-butt. And he would look at me and go, Dave, don't be a half-butt. Which I never really figured out exactly what a half-butt is, but I just didn't want to...
Is full butt the goal then?
Well, it's apparently I am, but there you go. Shut up, George.
I'm here for your entertainment, America. That's all.
This is The Ramsey Show.
Do you love a good Dave Rant? Want to see the latest Ramsey Show videos going viral? Check out your favorite moments from The Ramsey Show on YouTube. Go watch and subscribe to The Ramsey Show channel on YouTube.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. We help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. George Camel, Ramsey personality, host of the Fine Print podcast on Ramsey Networks, is my co-host today as we take your calls about your life and your money. Open phones, 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Mary starts off this hour in New York City. Hi, Mary. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Hi, George. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So my boyfriend and I have been dating about a year and a half now, and we obviously keep budgeting and finances separate and everything, but I've learned that we have definitely very different backgrounds when it comes to money. He has grown up where he doesn't really think about money. Things are just kind of paid. He spends what he wants. He doesn't really think about it, and I am the exact opposite. And as we're looking into the future and, you know, what that means for our relationship, I would like us to get on the same page. So I've started talking to him about that because I know he has a little bit of credit card debt, but he doesn't really know and he doesn't really pay attention because he's never thought about it. He's really, really open to learning. So I started actually playing your show for him, but I'm realizing very quickly that there's a lot of information that I have learned from listening to your show that I'm just not really, it's just so much information. I don't know how to teach it to him without getting overwhelmed. And I'm just wondering where we should start as we look to the future and, you know, what that means for us and how I can help him, you know, get on the same page.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, you sound very mature. How old are you?
I'm 28.
And how old is he?
27.
Okay, very cool. Well, you know, trying to teach him all the stuff and go, well, here's what you need to be doing. I don't know that that's going to work in the long term. What I would do is start to create a vision for the future, and then these principles become a part of how you get there. It becomes the game plan. That would get me more excited if I'm in his shoes, personally.
Yeah, rather than you don't want to become his mom.
You didn't sign up for that.
And he doesn't want you to become his mom. You really don't want to be that. And so George is right. Let's pull him in instead of push him in that sense. So it might sound something like this, Mary. Here's some actual things you could say, okay? The number one cause of divorce in North America today is money fights and money problems. So if we are going to be married someday, and it seems like we're moving in a positive direction with this relationship, then we, at some point before we're married, need to address the number one cause of marriage problems. To ignore that would be like stupid, right?
Right.
And so, I mean, if the number one cause of death of male 4-year-olds is bear attacks, well, you keep male 4-year-olds away from freaking bears. I mean, this is not hard, right? I made that up, but I mean, you know what I'm saying, right? So whatever it is, this is the number one cause. And so it's not number 3, it's number 1. So, I mean, if we can protect our marriage, and I love you, and if we can protect our future relationship, and I love you, against the number one problem, we should really get the antidote ahead of time. We ought to drink a bottle of the antidote, right? And so we got to begin to talk about that. How's that sound to you? And he's going to go, well, yeah, that makes sense, because it does make sense. Well, and here's the thing. I grew up one way, you grew up another way. I'm a lot more of a tightwad, a lot more administrative-minded. I'm kind of the nerd of the two. You're kind of the free spirit of the two. So it's not as natural for you to freak out about this stuff, and I stay freaked out about it all the time.
Right.
So you need to tighten up a little. I need to loosen up a little. And we need to learn to work together and be grown-ups together on our future goals. And, here's a format we could do this in. Like, we could take Financial Peace University as a relationship building class, although it happens to be a money class.
Right. Yeah, he's very open to that, and he really wants to learn that. One positive thing is that he definitely does not want me to just tell him what to do.
Yeah.
He wants to learn. He knows how important this is to me. And
good. Then you're marrying a man and not a little boy. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. He wants to learn. I don't know how to teach him, I guess. So
I don't want you to teach him. I don't want you to teach him. I want him to want to learn, and he'll find it. If you put our stuff in front of him, he'll learn it. He just needs to reason. He needs a reason to go do it. And the reason is that it's not my nature to go do this. This is him talking to himself. But this woman, Mary, is worth it. And she's telling me this is kind of, it's kind of permission to play here. If we're going to be in this, I'm going to have to deal with this. And so, this ain't going away. I got to deal with it. So I'm going to go in here and learn this stuff and get good enough at it so that I get Mary.
Right.
Mary, have you been through Financial Peace University?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, let me make that our gift to you guys. If he's willing to go through it, obviously you are. So that's 1 year of Ramsey Plus. It includes all of the videos in Financial Peace University and every dollar premium. And if you guys start to lay this out and start to have that vision, I think it'll get him excited about doing the plan instead of being forced into it.
It's the best pre-marriage counseling there is because it addresses the number one thing. I'll give you the next three if you want them. All the marriage data says if you can be in agreement on money, religion, kids, whether to have them and how to treat them, are the inmates going to run the asylum or are you? And in-laws, the crazy people in each of your family, how you going to keep them at bay? If you can deal with the in-laws and the outlaws and the kids and the religion and the money, and you get on the same page of that, and you've had deep, good, rich discussions in your pre-marriage counseling process, you have like a 90% probability of having a successful marriage. Those are the big four that break, the four horsemen of the apocalypse that break up more marriages than anything else. And that's what all the data from the marriage people tell us. And we found all of that because we discovered we had the number one.
That's pretty amazing, though. If you know that going in, you go, well, yeah, let's do everything we can to be aligned in all of those areas.
I hate God. I love God. They're going to be troublesome.
Not going to work out.
Going to be troublesome. I don't want kids at all. I don't even like them. I don't want to be near them. I want 17. There's going to be a problem
Let's talk about that beforehand.
Yeah, we need to know these things. Don't wake up later and go, well, I know. You need to know. You need to talk about it ahead of time. And, and go ahead and just identify Aunt Sally Mae over there. She's the crazy one. And and she's not living here. She's been homeless. She's lived with every other cousin, and she's not living with this cousin. I'm just telling you, because she's drunk all the time, and she's not living here. Let's go ahead and get this out. Go ahead and get this out in the open, all right? And just go ahead and deal with it now, because it's going to come up.
Yes,
it's going to come up.
Can't avoid it.
Never happened in my house, but it's going to come up. Sharon just says what we're going to do, and then it's over.
That's a good man.
There you go. Happy wife, happy life. This is the Ramsey Show. If you're a business or you're an HR leader, you know your employees are dealing with a lot. My employees' wellness team, financial wellness team, Smart Dollar, just did a study that found out after living through one of the toughest times in history, 60% of employees say their mental health has gotten worse. Half say their mental health keeps them from doing their job to the best of their ability. Good leaders take their employees' mental wellness seriously because it's good for them, it's good for you, it's good for your team, it's good for your business, it's good for your customers when your employees are healthy mentally. So give your employees a way to deal with their stress and put them on a path to care for their mental wellness. John Deloney's Anxiety Relief Checklist gives your employees simple steps they can take to relieve their anxiety so they can start bringing their full selves to work again. It's completely free to use. To get John Deloney's Anxiety Relief Checklist for employees, go to RamseySolutions.com/anxiety checklist. Again, RamseySolutions.com/anxiety checklist. Open phones at 888-825-5225. George Camel, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Kat is with us in Pittsburgh. Hey, Kat, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. How are you today? Thank you for having me.
My honor. What's up?
Yes, I just wanted to give you a little bit of background about me. I'm married currently. Mark and I just got married on May 7th, and we are currently debt-free, thank the Lord. And we have approximately about 70 to 80K in liquid. And we make collectively right around 70 to 75 yearly. And what we are doing right now is we're renting an apartment. So with our rental, rent and utilities, our expenses are right around $850 to $900 a month. And right now, we do have some crypto investments, and we'd really like to get into real estate investment as well. But we're not sure if maybe either moving into a duplex for our first home would be the right choice as far as making, having a place to move into and obviously making some investment on the other side of that duplex. Or if maybe we should buy a smaller home, fix it up, and within a year's time, maybe move out of that to another one and then just rent that home out or flip it. But that's what we wanted to ask you.
Okay. Well, I think a precursor to the answer is the rule that we use at Ramsey is we answer your questions of what we would do, knowing what we know, if we woke up in your shoes. Okay? Mm-hmm. And by the time I started with nothing, and by the time I was 26, I bought $4 million worth of real estate. I was doing Flip This House before Chip and Joanna were born.
Okay.
Literally. I mean, I'm not kidding. It was the early 80s, right? And no disrespect to them, but because they're wonderful. But I was using short-term notes to borrow money to flip the house and make a profit. I made a profit on almost every deal I did, and I still went broke because the bank got nervous and called all our notes at one time, and there's a word we use for real estate that sells really fast: cheap. So we ended up selling the real estate for less than it was owed on it, which was way less than it was worth, to keep foreclosures from happening. And it broke me, and I lost everything in my 20s. Okay, so that's who's answering your question. I, by the way, do love real estate. I own several $100 million worth of real estate today. But after that, I quit borrowing money. And so that's the guy and the place that you called to get your question answered. You need to know that. It's in fairness, okay? So if you want to do Flip This House with money, borrowed money, and all that kind of stuff, you're really on the wrong show. You're not going to do what we tell you to do. Mm-hmm. Okay? So having said all that, here's my answer on duplexes as your first property. And then here's my answer of what we would do if we woke up in your shoes. The beautiful thing about a duplex is your renter lives next door. The problem with a duplex is your renter lives next door. Mm-hmm. Can you tell I've been there? Okay. Mm-hmm. So if they want something, they can knock on your door. But you also don't have much trouble collecting the rent because they're right there. Cars in the driveway, and so we're going to get our money. We don't have to wait on some thing to happen. And so you have to set some relational, emotional boundaries if you're going to do that. That's the problem. It's not that bad. The biggest issue I had with duplexes, and I've owned, probably 100 of them, is that the typically are rental properties, and so typically the buyer, when you get ready to resell them, is another investor who's looking for a deal. The buyer, when you get ready to sell that same square footage of house as a duplex in a single family, is a cute little couple that wants a picket fence and a place for their French bulldog to run around.
Feels like a personal attack.
Yeah, it was a personal attack, George. Just take it for what it is. And they're willing to pay more like retail. And so single family homes of the same square footage within a 2-block area will go up faster in value than duplexes will because of who your pool of future buyers are in general. Now, a nice duplex will outperform a lousy single-family neighborhood. I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about apples-to-apples comparison, okay? So if you could find a really cool duplex in an up-and-coming, sweet, regentrified neighborhood, might be a real seriously good play, right? Versus buying a dumpy single-family, okay? So that's your upsides and downsides on duplexes. What would I do if I woke up in your shoes? And, George, I'll let you chime in after the personal attack. But is I would pay cash for my first home as soon as I can, and you're very close to doing that once you have decided you don't like losing 50% of your money in Bitcoin. And so...
how much do you guys have in crypto? Just curious.
Well, since we just got married, we haven't merged all that yet. I really don't know how much he has. I have approximately just shy of 10 grand.
Okay.
You guys are much... You like risk more than I do, but I've been broke. That's another thing you need to keep in mind. I don't like risk much. I don't like losing money. I lost a bunch of it, and it's too hard to make. I don't like losing it. So, and I know that because you're playing with lottery money over there. Crypto's, you've lost your butt on it, and stand around acting like you did something cool. It's just it's horrible. So I'd be getting out of that. I'd be buying some real estate that I pay cash for, George.
Yeah, I mean, you guys don't have a home currently, right? A primary residence.
Right.
So that would be my first goal. I wouldn't mess with the duplex, and plus they're really hard to find right now because you're not the only one who had this awesome idea. And so if I'm you, I'm getting into a primary residence with the money you have, put a strong down payment down, work on paying that off as soon as possible, and then, man, the world is your oyster.
Pay cash
getting
for
this
real
estate.
What I did after I went broke, Kat, was I got my house paid off. Took me a little while. Then I saved up and I paid cash for my first rental.
Not the sexiest answer, though.
And you know what happens? You know what happens with a rental that you have zero debt on? It cash flows like a bandit. It starts just stacking money up. And I'm able to pay cash for the second one fairly quick. And you got two of them sitting there with zero payments. You're just stacking money. And you can buy the third one. Then you're just stacking money. And ever since then, I've been just stacking money. And then I have some idiot walk up to me and go, "You're so lucky." Luck didn't have squat to do with it, Duber. I used a system and a process, you know?
But, Dave, the renter's going to pay my mortgage.
No, they don't, because renters don't always pay. Can you say pandemic? Can you say eviction moratorium? Yeah. Yeah, you can't get them out. And you know what? I had some people that had some serious problems during COVID, and I could be gentle as a landlord.
Because you don't need the money.
Because I didn't have to have the money to eat. I had one that had cancer. I don't throw somebody's got cancer in the street. I'm not heartless. Now, you beat your wife and you don't pay your bills, I'll put your crap in the street. But the thing is, you can be gentle when you don't have any payments. And it changes the whole world, Kat. It takes a little longer, but I've done detailed research, and 100% of the foreclosures occur on a home with a mortgage. This is The Ramsey Show. want you to stop by and visit us at Ramsey. We're in Franklin, Tennessee, just south of Nashville. If you're ever around, we have a huge visitor center. You can watch the show. We do the show live every day for radio, podcast, and YouTube from 1 to 4 Central. The cost to watch the show is astronomical if you want to be in the studio audience. It's somewhere right around free. Okay? And so is the coffee. So is the cookies. And
you get a free mug, too, while you're at it.
Really?
Yeah, did you know that?
We still give out coffee mugs?
They got new fancy ones.
I thought I got rid of that.
That did not leave the budget.
Oh, my God.
Inflation did not affect that.
Wow. I was trying to cut costs around here, so you never know.
You can always get rid of me.
In the lobby also of Ramsey Solutions is the world-famous now debt-free stage. On the world-famous debt-free stage is the world-famous Matt and Mindy. Welcome, guys. How are you?
Hey, Dave.
Good to have you guys. Where do y'all live?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Cool.
Yeah.
Welcome to Nashville.
Yeah.
And all the way over here to do your debt-free scream. How much did you pay off?
Right around 126, 127.
Very good. How long did this take you?
About 6 years and 4-ish months.
6 years, 4 months. I love it. And your range of income during that time?
We were around 65 at the time starting, and now we're north of 200.
Hey, I like that. Nice job. What do you guys do for a living?
We own our own construction company now as of June of 21.
Ah,
yeah.
Okay.
So do some owner's rep work, commercial construction consulting, and that was part of the plan. We didn't know it, but God did.
Yeah, and you got good timing, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, wow. Good for you guys. Well, congratulations. Yeah. Congratulations. What kind of debt was your $127,000?
Started out with some credit card debt. That was the first one we knocked out. Then we purchased a home and had some home renovations. About five grand in that, and then over 100 in student loan debt.
Oh, Sally Mae and Uncle Navient.
Uncle Navient.
Oh,
yes, sir.
Ugly Uncle Navient.
Yes,
oh,
sir.
My gosh. Way to go, guys.
Yeah.
What in the world happened that set you guys ablaze 6 years ago?
Well, actually, the story starts way before that. Probably 11 years ago, we attended a wonderful church when we lived in Kansas City, and they mentioned, actually, it was a sermon, a Dave Ramsey, sermon. And so that was when we first saw you and heard about you and got Total Money Makeover, and then attended a live event while we were there. This is all before we had kids. So that kind of lit the fire.
Which church?
At the time, it was Indian Creek Community Church.
Yeah, okay.
And then it's since changed names, but shout out to our pastor, Steve Southards.
Yeah.
And then we, that lit the fire. That really, it just spoke to us. It spoke to all of our needs. We had so many dreams in our heart for owning a business one day. Matt actually was in chiropractic school, which is what all the debt was from.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
And didn't finish, Dave.
Chiropractic school sets you up perfectly for construction.
It sure does. Well, what we realized was we always wanted to own a business and run a business. And we just didn't know quite how God was going to lead us down a different path. And so it's been really neat to look back on that and realize these dreams that were put in our heart now are coming to fruition in a different way than we expected, but it's been so wonderful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You look back, you see God's fingerprints.
All over it.
All over it.
Yeah.
But in the middle of it, you're going, what?
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah. Left
exactly.
turn, right turn, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was over a decade ago. But
Yeah,
6 years ago, something clicked.
So we were kind of Dave-ish, I guess you could say. We paid off quite a bit before the 6 years, a good chunk. But we kind of, we bought the house. We kind of did things out of order. We weren't really, weren't quite as on track as we should have been. Dave Light. Different than Dave-ish.
Ramsey Light.
It's better than Bud Light.
Yeah. And so we got I don't know, we got kind of a fire lit in us. We ended up wanting to lead an FBU class. We thought that's going to really shift our mindset back to walking the walk, talking the talk. So that was really...
Because you can't lead it and be a hypocrite.
Right.
Well,
also shout out to our current church in Tulsa is Life Church. We're Life Church members. I know you know our pastor, Craig Rochelle.
Craig and Amy are good friends.
And so there was another push for FPU and all of that. And so that really inspired us to get focused. So we were back on track, focused on everything for a couple of years, and then COVID. Well, actually, before COVID happened,
we have a few kids, and so we
along the way.
Along the way, yeah. So there were some pauses in the baby steps.
Yeah.
To set money aside for that. There was
cash flow the kids.
Yeah. We had a sinking fund for vehicle expenses that, it happened. So we had our emergency plan, our emergency savings, that $1,000 we'd saved up. But then also, we were driving, we were driving some clunkers at times, and those needed fixed. But so we just set up a sinking fund that we put towards that, vehicle expenses.
So we had about 4 cars that we had to cash flow and, switch out because they were high mileage, cars during that time. Couple babies during that time, kind of had to pause on the baby steps. Well, then things started to be a little unsure with work. And so we kind of felt like we needed to pause the baby steps and start saving up money. Just as a kind of a caution. Yeah. And then COVID hit, and we thought, this is why. Okay, this is probably wise. We paused on the baby steps and saved up money. Matt's salary got cut by about 25% during that time, which was really hard. Luckily, we were on your plan, so it just changed our margin. It didn't quite mess with our budget too much, so we're grateful for that. And then things got back on track with his salary, but it still felt a little off at work.
Yeah.
So that led you to opening the company.
So I actually attended another an event by a Wild at Heart event that some guy at my church, actually the first FPU class that we attended.
Was John there?
No, sir. No, okay. It was a small event there outside of Tulsa.
Okay.
And so we, I kind of went into it thinking, I just felt like God was moving, and I didn't know what was happening. I didn't really know, but I came home that Sunday evening and I said, I think we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And so we
game on, baby.
Game on.
Yeah.
And so we set a plan in place.
I love it.
And there was a lot of unknowns. Insurance.
There's like 9,000
employees.
Yeah.
How are we going to do this?
So what do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is now that you've done it?
Staying on the same page.
All the way through all this stuff.
Yeah.
I say commitment too. I mean, I feel like you have to be committed. You have to decide. Take it off the table. I know I hear that all the time.
No, I'm kidding.
I know you hear that all the time.
No, you're right. You're right.
That like you take debt off the table, but really, I mean, when you commit to it, it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be mess ups. There's going to be things that come at you.
How does it feel now that you're free?
It's incredible. I mean, it's been
Let's
such a
bring the kiddos
dream.
up with their names and ages.
Right.
We got Oliver.
Before I run out of time.
He's almost 9. We got Lewis. He is 7. We got Genevieve. She is 5. And we've got little Josephine. 2.5.
They are beautiful. They're so cute. That's so fun. We got a copy of Baby Steps Millionaires for you. That's the next chapter in your story for sure.
Thanks, Dave.
Also, another copy of Ramsey Plus, a 1-year subscription. You can give that away because you guys are old-time FPU people.
Yep.
You'll find somebody that you can bless with a 1-year subscription to Financial Peace University and Total Money Makeover. Same thing. You'll be able to give that away. I'm so proud of y'all.
Thank you.
Well done. You guys are beautiful. Incredible family. Very well played. Very, very well done. All right. It's Mandy and Mindy and the gang. $127,000 paid off in 6 years and 4 months, making $65,000 to $200,000. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. We're debt-free!
I love it.
Another family tree changed.
Boom. Just like that.
Incredible.
This is the Ramsey Show. George Camel, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. This is the Ramsey Show. Ellen is in Chicago. Hi, Ellen. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
All right. Hang on a second. They didn't tell me that.
I tell you what, I'll put you on hold, and I'll go back and talk to Caden in Lincoln, Nebraska then. Hey, Caden, what's up?
Hey, Dave. How's it going?
Good. How can I help?
Yeah, so I am 21, and I'm about to graduate college, and it's always been a dream of mine to own a Mustang, and I wanted your opinion on how much I could spend on that without messing up any of my other financial goals.
Give you money?
Yeah, so I'm going to graduate debt-free in December, and thanks to my parents, and then I worked through high school to help contribute to that. I have about $13,000 in a Roth IRA and about 14 in the bank, 14 grand.
And you're graduating from, did you say college or high school? College. With a degree in what?
Ag business.
Cool. Have you got a job?
Yeah, so I have a job lined up starting in September, and so that will be a full-time job as I finish up school part-time.
Good for you. How much will you be making?
So that will be about 45 base salary, and then I'll go up from there with commission and bonuses.
Good for you. Well done. What are you driving now?
So right now I have a Subaru Crosstrek, and I'm using it for my internship, and then I would sell that to buy the Mustang.
Yeah, what's it worth?
About 13 grand.
Okay. All right. Well, I love cars, so I get your dream, okay? Unless you're talking about the new Mustang, which I think is ugly as crud. But anyway, I love cars. And, you know, I got a weak spot for boats. I just got some Mastercraft boats. I always wanted a Mastercraft ski boat, and I've had Mastercraft ski boats for years. And I just got the brand new ones. They're just amazing. So I love things with motors. I'm a redneck. I love them. Okay, so I'm with you. But what I have learned is that I want my dreams to be done in such a way that they don't become a nightmare. Is that okay?
Exactly.
Which is kind of what you asked. You just said a different way. I want to do it wisely is what you asked. So What are you thinking you should do? What do you want to do?
So what I want to do is I'll get a company vehicle with this new job in September, and so I can use that for personal use, and so practicality doesn't have to be a consideration.
Okay.
And so I would sell my current vehicle, and then I'm trying to figure out how much more I can put on that and get, newer, better, faster. You know how that goes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so, I mean, you've looked at Mustangs. You've been thinking about this. What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about 20 to 25,000, but to me, I've always been kind of a tightwad, and so that's a big number for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think you're in range. The range that we use is A, you pay cash, and you'll be debt-free when you do all of this, if I understood you right, correct?
Yep.
And B, you don't want vehicles, things with motors and wheels, to add all together, because they all go down in value, to be more than half of your annual income. If you're making 45 and you have a car that's worth 20, I mean, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. I'm glad you didn't call me up and tell me you wanted to lease a new one.
Yeah, I knew what you'd say to that one.
Good, I'm glad. Saved us both a lot of pain.
So here's my thing.
That answers my...
You've got the company car, so this one's going to be sitting around a whole bunch, isn't it? It's just kind of a weekend driver, essentially?
Yep.
Yeah. So in that case, it makes me less excited. You're not going to be driving it all that much. So to spend $20,000, I would just look at your other goals. You said you had other financial goals, right? You're probably wanting to buy a house one day. Might need to save up for a wedding one day. You have other things going on in your life. You want to be able to invest 15% into retirement with your new job. So I would just factor all of those things in before making this purchase. I still think it's a wise purchase based on the parameters you set out, but I would also look at the opportunity cost of what my other goals are and what my future looks like.
Yeah. So here's the thing. There's nothing devastatingly stupid about what you're talking about doing. But you are parking $20,000 in something that's not going to go anywhere. And it is most of your net worth. Okay? So it would be okay to delay the purchase of the Mustang, since it is kind of a toy, in a sense here, a year. And let's see what a year brings. And you might end up delaying it 2 years, and let's see what 2 years brings, and that kind of thing. I'm not saying don't live your dreams. I'm not saying you've always wanted to own a Mustang. That's fine. Now, if you'll select the particular Mustang that you're going to buy very carefully, in terms of mileage, cleanliness, and the uniqueness of the particular car, what it's got in it, how it's built, all that kind of thing, that could ensure that you could resell it quickly and easily if you ever wanted to, say, fall in love and you wanted to buy a house with said queen more than you wanted said car. And you can unload the car at that point. Don't get too attached to this crap. It's a car.
And right now, it's not a great time to buy a car. So that's another reason to wait. And that $14,000 you have in cash, that sounds like it's your emergency fund. And so we need to save up outside of that so that when you sell your Subaru, you have the cash on hand with that money to then purchase it in cash.
Yeah, I'm probably waiting till spring. And let's have a little cooling off period. And I might wait till the next spring. But I think you're on the right track, and the ratios we're giving you are there. If it's a toy, pay cash for it. Never have more than 50% of your income tied up in things that go down in value that have motors and wheels. And I got a lot of junk with motors and wheels now because I'm kind of like, I like stuff that goes wooden, I just do. And so, but it's a very, very small percentage of my world overall. And that helps me stay sane and wise and all of those kinds of things. Ellen is with us now in Chicago. Hi, Ellen. How are you?
Yes. I'm going to try and make this as quick as I can. Me and my husband are 57. We are $3,000 away from paying on baby step 2.
Good.
And I'm having a problem doing a mental switch to be as intense for baby step 3.
How are you 57 and never had a devastating emergency? You should be able to look back on your life and go, I really need a rainy day fund, because sometimes it freaking rains.
Well, it's more of the length of time taking to do it. I mean,
how long is it going to take?
About a year.
Nah.
How much are you trying to save up for this emergency fund?
Around $25,000.
And what's your household income?
$170,000.
Why does it take a year?
So you have no payments, and you have $170,000 in income.
Doesn't take a year to come up with $25,000.
I don't know. My brain is not.
You're making $14,000 a month.
Yeah.
So let's get a plan for this money.
Let's call it 6 months and be done with it.
Okay.
Yeah, you get to $25,000 in the bank, and then you'll relax in a place you didn't even realize you were uptight.
Yeah.
Most people do baby step 3 in 6 months, and you don't have an average income. You have a above average income, and so it tells me you could do this faster.
Yeah, we have above average income as long as I don't go out for short-term disability again.
How often has that happened?
It's happened, well, I'm on it right now. I'm just about to end it right now. And it happened twice last year.
Okay, so your income is really not $175,000 right now.
No, it's not.
What is your portion of the 175?
Around, okay, I just got a price, listen to me. I had about $64,000 myself.
Okay, so he makes 110.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it might take you 8 months instead of 7 months. Let's pretend you had zero income. Let's call it 8 months with zero income. You can save up $25,000, making 110 in 8 months.
With no payments.
Yeah.
You can do this.
And by the way, your life is an emergency right now. Why would you not want an emergency fund more than anything? You definitely need an emergency fund. You have all kinds of motivation. Look in the mirror. I mean, right now, you're like, I've been out 3 times on short-term disability. This is a person who needs an emergency fund. Yes, go get you one, girl. You'll feel better, I promise. This is The Ramsey Show.
Dave here. You can find all of our shows with the Ramsey Network app on your smartphone. It's the only place to listen to the entire back catalog of episodes. Download the Ramsey Network app in your favorite app store today. This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. We're here to help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. The phone number here is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Well, George, ripping people off with bad lending practices, predatory lending practices, even when you give it a cool tech name, is no longer cool.
That's right. Buy now, pay later. That's what this is all about. I didn't rip anyone off, just to be clear here. Klarna, here's the headline from morningbrew.com. Klarna's layoffs.
Which means nothing.
No.
What's the word mean?
Nothing.
Nothing.
It's just a hipster
It means
name.
that now you're going to pay payments when you should have not bought the shirt if you couldn't afford the freaking shirt. Oh, my God.
Here's what they're saying. Klarna's layoffs signal a broader buy now, pay later slowdown. Oh, feels so bad.
There's an increase in common sense.
And here's what it goes on to say. These companies are watching their rapid gains crumble. Buy now, pay later giant Klarna, Europe's largest private tech firm, said yesterday it was laying off 10% of the company's roughly 7,000 employees. Wow. And
700 people bit the dust.
Klarna firm Afterpay, number of these startups, its point-of-sale installment loans is what it is. Last year, U.S. consumers spent over $20 billion through these services.
Now, wait a minute. The CEO says the war in Ukraine. What?
Oh, that's what they're blaming it on.
Soaring inflation and likely recession as reason for the cuts. I mean, there's... The reason you're cutting your employees is because your product is not selling. People didn't quit borrowing money for their shirt on Klarna because of the Ukrainian war.
It's a great reason.
Double-ducking goober. Seriously.
Dave,
that's so lame.
I got breakfast this week. Here's from Afterpay. My biscuit allowed me to do 4 interest-free payments of $375 using Afterpay on a biscuit. Can you believe that? Wow.
A biscuit!
A literal biscuit. I was shocked. And so here's what's happening.
So, Mr. CEO, it's not the Ukraine. It's the fact that people woke up to the fact you were screwing them and they got tired of financing their biscuit. This is why you're having to lay people off. Another study says there's an increase in wisdom and common sense directly correlated to the loss of Klarna's 700 employees. Oh, my God.
This is
4 out of 5 dentists say if you brush your teeth, they won't fall out.
It's amazing how that works. So we've been talking about this before it was cool, steering people away from it. We did a whole episode on the fine print about buy now, pay later services.
George was a man.
I called it.
He was early to the party.
So here's what they're saying. Buy now, pay later companies are dealing with another threat, regulation. Numerous U.S. and U.K. agencies have launched investigations into the company's potentially predatory lending practices, accusing them of irresponsibly allowing young consumers to rack up debt. Wow.
Oh, wait a minute. You're saying it's bad to finance a biscuit? Is this what we're saying?
It's hurting people. They're finally realizing
it's predatory lending.
Because they try to act like the good guys. That's what frustrates me the most about these companies.
Your Honor, I'm in bankruptcy court today because of my biscuit problem.
$375, 4 easy payments. First of all, that's an expensive biscuit, I got to say. But here's what happens. Retailers can charge more for their products because the price looks lower to these young consumers who go, well, I can fit $375 in my budget. Why not?
I mean, it's almost impossible to pull something up online right now that they don't go 4 easy payments. And, you $4.22.
You were around when this originally came out.
You can't afford antiperspirant. I mean, come on.
Well, Dave, it frees money in my budget. They're trying to help me achieve financial freedom.
It's the Ukrainian war. It's throwing everything off.
It's insane.
Sorry for the Ukrainian war. I don't like it. I don't mean that. I'm not making fun of the Ukrainian people. I love their good. But you can't blame your company's failures on that.
No. These companies, they try to act like they're the good guys in the lending industry because they go, well, we don't do interest. We don't do all these fees. We're better than the credit card companies. We're not payday lenders.
Yeah. Let me give you the principle, okay? 1983, okay?
Take us back.
23 years old. I bought a house, believe it or not, for $8,000.
Wow.
I spent $12,000 to fix it up. It was pretty dumpy. So I got $20,000 in this house. I sold it to a guy for $34,000 who went and got an FHA loan. It ain't much of a house. Even in 83, that's not much of a house, okay? You know what he did? He didn't get the FHA loan. His grandpa loaned him the money. And he turned around and he sold this house that I had 20 in, sold it to him for 30, for 50 to a guy on payments, 0 interest, $500 down.
Wow.
Now you tell me that's 0 interest, because the appraisal on the house was 34. He sold it for 50. Is that 0 interest?
No.
Well, the contract said it was 0 interest. This is what Klarna does. It's a modern day version of that crap. Okay? Just mark it up, double, mark it up 25%, mark it up 18%, and then call it no interest. We're not charging any interest. How can we be doing predatory lending? Yes, you are, boys and girls.
They've all got different traps. And so not all of them, some of them are interest-free, some of them are fee-free. But if you miss a payment, that is where the APR kicks up way higher than credit cards. Some of these are 30% APR.
Well, and they got more fees than a French poodle. I mean, it's fee everywhere. It's just ridiculous.
And they're hoping and banking on the fact that you won't pay.
Oh, yeah, because then they get to really get you with the late charges. So can you tell that we're not sad that Klarna's not doing well? The reason we're not sad that Klarna's not doing well is Klarna doesn't do you well. We don't really care. All we want is for you to win. We love you people. We want you to win. We're what's known as consumer advocates. We're always going to be taking up for you, telling you that you're getting screwed here, you're getting screwed there. Stay away from these guys. They're going to screw you. Don't do this. It's going to screw you. Don't do that. If you'll just keep from getting screwed all the time, you'll have some money.
What's crazy is that they're not going after the credit card companies, these agencies, but they're going after buy now, pay later. That tells you something about how scummy these companies are and how predatory they are. Well, Capital One's not, they've got certain levels of regulation, but these buy now, pay later companies, here's what they do. To avoid regulation, they do 4 payments instead of 5. Because once you do 5, now...
Truth in Lending.
There's the Truth in Lending Act that kicks in.
Whoa, I did not know
Isn't that wild? Fun fact.
Interesting information.
And their marketing goes after lower income, it goes after minorities, and so they're starting to get wind of this.
And it goes after the young and stupid.
Gen Z.
If you're young and you're stupid, I was just talking to you. Yeah. So you don't have to be you don't have to be stupid if you're young, and you don't have to be young if you're stupid.
That's true.
You could be either one or both. But boy, if you're both, you are a target of these people.
You're
I'm just
the
saying.
one financing a biscuit.
If you're financing a biscuit, you might be stupid. If you're financing a shirt, you might be stupid. You got 17 in the closet. Unbelievable. This is The Ramsey Show. George Camel, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. A lot of people would rather spend their weekend doing yard work than talk about insurance, but here's the deal. If you don't take the time to learn about insurance, you're going to feel like you're getting ripped off, probably because you are. You got to learn about it. insurance is necessary, but doing the wrong stuff is really expensive. We think learning about money should be simple or even fun. Our new 5-day guide to insurance called Confidence in Your Coverage by our own George Camel makes learning about insurance quick, practical, and you'll even laugh out loud. It is George. He's going to make you
try to throw a few jokes in there.
Yeah, he's going to keep you humorous, yeah. We understand the a little spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down and all that, right? So every day for 5 days, Ramsey personality George Camel will walk you through a new insurance topic, unpacking everything you need to know to get the right coverage. It's completely free to do all of this. Go to RamseySolutions.com/confidence, because that's what you need. RamseySolutions.com/confidence. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. They have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. That means even if you mismeasure, you pick the wrong color, they'll remake your blinds for free. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Use the promo code Ramsey to get the best deal.
Today's question comes from Kevin in Phoenix. He says, I know you say to put 20% down on a 15-year fixed-rate mortgage, but in the market I'm in, it feels unattainable. At one point, we hit our savings goal, but by the time we saved up enough, the home prices had jumped way up. We're debt-free, and we've been renting for a few years, and it just feels like we'll never be able to buy our first home. We're trying to run the baby steps, but don't see the light at the end of the tunnel right now. Is it okay to put less down in order to get into a house faster, or should we wait for house prices to come down? Well, that question at the end there, I'll answer that first. Maybe both. We don't say you have to put 20% down, especially on your first home. We say it's ideal to put 20% down because you avoid PMI, private mortgage insurance, which is extra money you pay to protect the lender, not you. So as a first-time home buyer, I love that you're trying to follow the baby steps, you're debt-free, you're saving up for this house, and so I'm okay with you putting less down as your down payment in order to get into this house. And yes, you probably should wait for the housing market to cool off a little bit so you're not putting 100 over asking with no inspection. Don't do stupid stuff like that.
Yeah, prices are not going to come down, Kevin. If you're waiting on prices to come down, you're not going to buy a house ever. Prices are not coming down. They are going to slow the rate at which they are increasing, though. That's what George is referring to, where the market cools off. Right now, asking price means suggest you start bidding here. And we want to get out of that kind of thing. And you're probably going to see that. We've seen interest rates tick up. The market has slowed down. We seem to be moving into our second quarter of contraction in the economy. This is known as a recession. And the Biden administration seems bound and determined to create one, so it looks like we're going to be there. And that's where, I mean, politics aside, it's just observation. And so I think you're probably going to see calming down. But we've never seen house prices go down in the modern America, like since the 1930s, except one time. And that was for about 6 or 8 months in 2008. When the bubble burst on the housing market. And it was a financing bubble. It wasn't a real estate bubble. And so some markets, Phoenix was particularly hit. Las Vegas was particularly hit. A few other major cities that were super hot. They contracted, and the prices actually went down. But that's the only time I've seen that, and I've had a real estate license 30 years. I can't find it anywhere since the late 30s, 1930s. So 100 years almost. And so I don't think you're going to see house prices go down. But we did have, was it 2020, house prices went up 32%, right?
Yeah, it's crazy
stuff. And then in 21, they went up 14%. And they're predicting in 22 for them to go up 7%. So we're seeing a slow, the rate of increase is less. And I think we're going to continue to see that. But I don't think you're going to see house prices lower. So, yes, I would buy, but don't buy more than a fourth of your income on a 15-year fix, regardless of what you put down. And just understand you are signing up for PMI, which is about $75 a month per $100,000 borrowed. So you buy a $300,000 house, you're paying an extra $225 a month for insurance that is a foreclosure insurance that pays the mortgage company if they foreclose on you. It does nothing for you. But that's what private mortgage insurance is, PMI.
So if you can put 5 to 10% down, and it's still a quarter of your take-home pay on a 15-year fixed rate.
And then beat that thing down and get it paid down so you can get rid of that PMI, even after you buy. Turn around and get rid of it. Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind that. And then the other thing you can do is you could adjust your desires.
But Dave, it's my dream house.
It's called. It's a nightmare right now. It's called contentment. Okay, the dream house for someone in 1962 was 1,000 square foot, 1.5 baths, 1 story, 1 car garage, 1 car in the driveway. That was the standard of living of the average American in 1962. Today, it is a microwave, a towel warming drawer, granite countertops, 3-car garage with electric garage door openers, which when I was a child were only for rich people. And if you don't have one on your house now, it means you're poverty stricken. A skylight and a jacuzzi.
Ooh, gotta have that skylight. That's living.
A dog wash.
Oh, that's true. I've seen those. Those are wild.
I mean, this is standard equipment now. Wow. 3,000 square foot, 2 stories, the average home in America. It's gone up. So while house prices have gone up dramatically since 1962, young kids can't buy a house like they could in 1962. The average house price to the average income is completely out of whack. Well, the average house is completely out of whack, by the way. So there's the problem. Contentment is a big deal. Now,
so maybe adjust the expectations, Kevin, and go, hey, is there a condo we can get into so that we can get into this house sooner? Because I don't want you waiting 15 years to get into the market. People think our advice is, well, Dave Ramsey wants you to only save up and pay cash, and you got to wait 20 years and you'll never get a house. That's not it.
And by the way, you will get a house. So, because there's nothing here stagnant in the whole process. The point is, no one can afford a car. Because the value of a car right now, a brand new car, as a ratio to income versus a brand new car in 1970 ratio to income is completely out of whack. Well, the stinking car's out of whack too. I mean, these cars are, they're
now 50, 60,000 is normal.
They're wonderful automobiles, but by God, they'll fry an egg while you drive to work. I've never seen. They do everything.
Rachel's for sure.
You don't even have to drive anymore. They'll drive for you. I mean, and so here's the thing. I am not saying you shouldn't have nice things. I'm saying your nice things shouldn't have you, and you need to kind of adjust your mind, because normal is such a high standard of living now compared to a few years ago that you cannot use 50-year-ago statistics and say that the economy is completely out of whack and wealth inequality is lost. We've lost our minds, because we haven't. What we've lost our minds on is what we're purchasing. I mean, this Mastercraft ski boat that I got, it's like driving a spaceship. It is freaking incredible.
Can you get that to drive itself? Because that would be a feature.
It's amazing piece of equipment, but I can afford it, and that's the difference, And, if you need to be able to be making some money to drive a Mastercraft to pull people around on an internet.
When you say afford it, you don't mean the payments. You mean in full.
I mean,
in cash.
God, they're fabulous. These cars are fabulous. These houses are fabulous. But that doesn't mean you can afford it.
But Dave, that hurts my feelings.
I'm really not concerned about your feelings. How long have you been here, George? Yeah. This is the Ramsey Show. George Camel, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Cheryl's in Milwaukee. Hi, Cheryl. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I'm hoping you can help me decipher on what we need to do. I'll give you a little background. We have 3 children. The first one just graduated from college. Second one will be a junior in college, and then third one's in high school. Now, the first one has $9,000 left over in the EdVest account. And the second one, we might be like $10,000 to $12,000 short in covering the rest of that college education. My husband thinks we should just keep it in there. I think we should roll it.
Why would you not roll it?
Pardon me?
Why would you? I mean, you're going to come up short on one and you got the money in the other and the other one's done?
Right. And he thinks, well, you know, it's his money. Well, even
not his money.
That's
your money. He didn't put it in there. You did.
Well, what if he wants to, you know, for his kids? And I said, well, then we'll start something up when he has kids. I'm not going to sit on $9,000 and take it out of our non-existing interest-bearing savings account to come up the shortfall.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Or am I thinking correctly?
You are. You win the argument.
That's a no-brainer. We're not going to go into debt so that this kid can have it for his grandkids. He's got plenty of time.
When he didn't put it in there in the first place.
Right.
You can change the beneficiary at any time.
Going to debt. I mean, we've been very diligent on making sure we were able to help our children come out of school debt-free.
Yeah,
so
once you did that, that's called like a miracle. It's wonderful. Go. Yeah, so, you roll the money and the other kid gets taken care of. And it was just a calculation rounding error. We round it, we roll it, and move on. And if there's a pile of money when the third one comes out, just split it 3 ways and hand it to them. I'm good with that, but we got to get all 3 out first. We got to get all 3 out first.
Right. Okay.
That's what I would do. I mean, is that what you're asking?
Yes, like I said, we are not worried about the third because the third one, you know, we've put more money in as our income has grown, so they'll have a little bit more to deal with, but at the end of the day, she might have extra, so we would.
Well, all 3 of mine came out with a little bit of a surplus, and I did not even it up. I just let them keep whatever was in their surplus in my case, okay? But I didn't come up short on one either.
Okay.
If I'd come up short, I would have been going.
The only reason we're coming up short is because the second one's going to private, so it's a little bit more.
Okay. I mean, but everybody made that choice together. You knew this. I mean, no one went, oh, she's in private. Who knew? I mean, you knew she was there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, that's just, in other words, you made the decision to do this when you made the decision to allow her to go to that more expensive school because you knew you were going to pay for it. It's just a matter of how.
Right.
Yeah. So I pay for it. It's college funds. Kids' college are paid for. Boom. Now, next, what are we doing? Okay. I'm moving on.
It's a simple answer.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
529s can be transferred to any kid, adult, or any member of the family.
It can be niece, aunt, uncle. I mean,
Mom and Dad.
Very generous.
Mom can go back and get her master's with what's left over from the kids for 529 now.
And a lot of people don't know if you get a scholarship, you can take that money out of the 529 against the scholarship.
Yep. Tax-free.
Tax-free.
Tax-free. The amount of the scholarship. So you get a $13,000 scholarship, pull 13 out of the old 529, no taxes. No penalties. No problems.
A lot of things you can do with it.
Eric is with us. Eric is in Wichita, Kansas. Hi, Eric. How are you?
Hey, Dave and George. How are you guys doing this afternoon?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
Hey, man, I've got just a question about our family situation. My wife and I, we have a little girl that's 3. I'm going to be 3 in June, and then my wife is expecting another little one in October.
Wonderful.
We're excited about that. But I've just got a question about we're completely out of debt. We're on baby steps 4, 5, and 6, and just trying to figure out whether we should kind of halt those and start stacking up some cash, or I'm thinking about being out of debt. I have about $1,700 a month that I can put towards pretty much whatever I need to, but I don't know if I should start paying off my house or if I should stack the cash in savings, and I just wanted some advice on that, I guess.
What are you stacking the cash for?
For our second baby.
You have an emergency fund?
Yeah, we do. It's up $20,000 right now.
You have a job? Why's your second baby need an emergency fund?
I was just like, if there was something that went wrong medically or whatever, I don't know.
How much is in your emergency fund?
About $20,000.
You have health insurance?
Yeah, my wife's on the Christian Healthcare Ministries.
Okay, all right. Unless there's something that you think that's not going to cover, that is a realistic expectation, I would simply continue to follow the plan.
Do you have an out-of-pocket maximum on that?
So it's like a $500 deductible, but we have to pay everything up front in cash.
And get reimbursed.
And they reimburse it basically. So.
Yeah. I mean, is there any difficulties with the pregnancy at all?
Not that we know of right now. We just found out the gender yesterday. So.
Oh, that's fun. Cool. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I think you're being a good dad to be careful and to be wise and to be thoughtful about this, but you've got a good emergency fund. I'm not worrying about it. If you want to build up the emergency fund a little bit, baby comes and then throw the money on at the house later in October, that's not the end of the world. But I don't think it's necessary here. It's not.
If it'll help you sleep better at night to put that $1,700 away for the next 5 months till the baby gets here, that's $8,500. And baby's great. Then we go $8,500 going towards the principal and the mortgage.
Or drop it on 2 college funds and let's get going. Whatever. Baby step 5, right? Either one's fine. Yeah, you could drop $5,000 on 2 college funds and go a long, long way. For Christmas this year.
I've been teaching you guys this class. I teach math at a little high school around here, and I've been teaching your personal finance class. And I've watched the show for about a year and a half, and I've seen different people ask questions, and I just wasn't sure. So I appreciate you guys' time today.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for teaching the class to high schoolers. That's a big deal, man. Lisa is in Atlanta, Georgia. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, thank you so much. Good afternoon, Dave and George. I appreciate you taking my call.
Sure.
So my question is, I am looking to change jobs. I currently have a job that ties me to a radius in Atlanta, and my actual home is outside of the radius. So I'm looking to change to a 100% remote job that will let me and my husband live in the same home, and for me to be able to be with my family that lives in Pennsylvania. So the 2 opportunities that I have in front of me, one job, let's just call it the retirement company. They specialize in retirement plans. The pay is a little bit less than what I am currently making, but the 401k is good. The other opportunity is in medical supplies. The pay is a little bit more, but the 401k is not as good.
What is not as good on a 401k?
So the 401k for the medical company is they'll do a 50% match, up to 8%, and then it's a vested amount. So you have a vested schedule. The other one, the retirement company, it's 3% off the top and then a 6% match.
And what is what is the income with the 2? What would you be making? What would you be making with the retirement company? What would you be making with the medical supply company?
So it would be $19 with the retirement company. Medical supplies would be $21.
I'd do the medical supply. I'd do the medical supply. I don't think it makes that much difference. The 401k is not that big a deal here. The spread on it's not there. And I think there's more upside with your medical supply. I think the other one sounds like a bureaucrat corporate job to me. I'm guessing, I'm reading into things you're saying between the lines and the sentences, but that's my gut.
Yeah, I'd also go, which one do I want to do more?
No, there's that.
Do you want to be in medical supply? Do you want to be in retirement?
Ken Coleman on me.
There's an idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, hold on. We're going to send you a copy of Ken's book, From Paycheck to Purpose. You usually don't make the decision on a 401k. You make it on other things that are more important. This is The Ramsey Show. Proverbs 15:1, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, you cannot do a kindness too soon because you never know how soon it will be too late. George Campbell, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Allison is in Henderson, Kentucky. Hey, Allison, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Good. So I have a question. In 2001, my employer at the time, they had Anthem Insurance, and that company, I guess, by demutualization, awarded anyone that had that insurance some shares.
Correct.
Some stock. And so it has now, in the past few years, it's grown. So my question is I have enough where if I sell it, I could pay off my house. Well, it would leave me about 6 months to pay on my own. But I was wondering if it would be beneficial to sell it, pay off my house, and then I'd be debt-free after 6 months.
Yes.
But just paying that capital gains tax, that would be...
So, do it. What's this stock worth?
And the total amount that it's worth now, it's like $28,500, somewhere around there.
Okay. Let's visit your kitchen table with me in your mind.
Okay.
I want you to see $30,000 piled up in the middle of that table.
Right.
You have two choices with this pile of $30,000. You can pay it down on your house, or you can buy Anthem stock.
Right.
Which one are you going to do?
I'd rather pay down the house.
It's kind of a no-brainer, isn't it? You would never have bought Anthem stock. It was given to you as a part of the process. You ended up in it by default. You never sat down 5 years ago and went, oh, I dream someday that I have $30,000 in Anthem stock. That is not how this happened.
What's left on the mortgage?
It's about $29,500.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to be there in no time, kiddo. It's going to be so cool.
And it's a couple of grand in capital gains, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm assuming. I don't really know how to figure all that, but I'm assuming so.
Well, I'm guessing it's 100% gain. It may even be ordinary income. The capital gain will be on what it went up since you got it. But it was given to you as an award, correct?
Right.
You paid nothing for it.
Correct.
So your gain is 100%.
Right.
And so 30 times is $4,500 probably, $4,000 probably, something like that. So get tax advice. Get your tax advisor to tell you how much to set back before you send too big a check to the mortgage company and they don't have enough to pay your tax bill.
Right.
But then put the rest of it on the house. Let's get the house paid off. What do you make a year?
Well, it depends if I have overtime or not. So anywhere between 60 and 65,000.
Good for you. And you're going to have a paid-for house by Christmas.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's going to feel so good.
I hope so.
Allison, in our world, this is called a no-brainer. Have at it, kiddo. Lisa's in Atlanta. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
I think you already took my call, Dave.
We got her.
Oh,
All right.
wow. Good. Okay. We've done everything we needed to do. She's just hanging around.
Pretty impressive. Appreciate Lisa still listening in.
Yeah, thanks,
Just
Lisa.
gleaning wisdom.
I appreciate you hanging with us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. All right, George, that technique I just used is called a sunk cost analysis.
Oh, the kitchen table analogy?
Comes from the Harvard newsletter, investment newsletter. And it really, in that case, the article harkens back to someone says, I don't want to, I bought this stock for $120,000. It's gone down 5 years ago to $80,000. And I don't really want to sell it until it comes back up above what I paid for it. I don't want to take the loss. What do I do? And you don't make the decision on whether to keep $80,000 worth of stock based on what you paid for it. You make the decision on whether to keep $80,000, $28,500 worth of stock based on what the future is, what the best future is for the money. Now, if you had $80,000 in the middle of the kitchen table and you said, I wouldn't buy that stock again, by not selling it, you effectively bought it again every morning. You
Right,
know,
keep it
every
hanging
morning you're
around.
making the decision to keep it. It's as if you're buying it yet again, right? And so, you know, I wouldn't ever buy it. Well, why? I'm not sure it's going to go back up, but you're waiting on it to go back up. Well, this is a dumb process. And this is the way the human mind works. And so the guy writing this article was making a really good psychological point. And he trained the kids in the MBA classes, the Masters in Business classes, that when someone started doing an analysis based on what they paid for it, which is called the sunk costs, that's history. It's over. Doesn't matter what you paid for it. All that matters is where it's going in the future. And if someone started doing the analysis based on sunk costs, the whole class was trained to yell sunk costs.
That's fun.
And shut the whole thing down. Just to get people out of that mindset of thinking, I'm, you know, and you can do this with a personal item. You can do it with anything. You say, if I had that money, would I buy that again? A lot of times people have moved over the years. They move out of a house. They get transferred to another city. The real estate market's not hot like it is right now. They can't sell the house. They put a renter in it. They call me up 7 years later and go, I got a rental house in Abilene, Texas, and I live in Memphis, Tennessee. What you know, should I sell the Abilene? Yes. Why? Because you didn't buy it in the first place for this.
If you started over today, you wouldn't buy that property.
You became a landlord by default. It's a sunk cost. How you got there is irrelevant. The only thing that's relevant on the decision on whether to keep it or not is the future. And the future says, if I live in Memphis, Tennessee, I wouldn't go to Abilene, Texas to buy my rental property. It's devoid of common sense. And so if you wouldn't buy it again today because of its future, whatever it is, the boat in the driveway, then it's time to sell it. But if you go, no, I love that boat, and I couldn't get another one for, you know, that amount of money, and our family gets enjoyment out of that, and I can afford it, and I'm not getting rid of my boat. I love my boat. And if I didn't have it, I'd go buy one just like it. Then you would keep that boat because of its future, though, not because of its past.
Wow. That's an interesting one. I like that analogy. It definitely helps clear the emotion out of the picture and just look at things logically.
Yeah. And, you know, and some things, this would lead you to keep, to use some good emotional intelligence and keep a nostalgic item. When you go, okay, that's my grandmother's wedding ring.
It's an heirloom.
And I could sell that diamond ring for, $10,000, okay? But you could never get that back. It's gone out of your entire family lineage forever. You know,
changes things.
I'm not selling that. I'm not selling that. I'm selling a lot of things. I'm not selling that.
But people justify when it's a truck, and they go, Dave, it's my dream truck. I can't sell it. And you're telling me there's not another Tacoma down the road? Well, it's not that special.
Yeah, that's a different thing. That it's not a singular item. I mean, now if it's a truck that was in 1962. And you and your dad rebuilt it in the garage as a antique mod, and you know you worked on it for 10 years from the time you were 10 till the time you were 20, and then you went off to college, and your dad passed away and left the truck to you. I ain't selling that truck. You know, that's like grandma's diamond ring then. You know, but if it's just something you bought 3 weeks ago or 5 years ago and you have zero attachment to it other than you think it's cool, that's a different thing. Then yeah, I'm selling the horse, Camel, right?
Oh gosh, I was gonna go there, Dave, but I didn't. I refrained.
You held back, but I couldn't.
I learned horses are sentimental last week, and they are family,
Did you?
They are basically kids.
Oh.
Not my words. Not my words.
Well, it's George. You should be just.
They're calling it Horsegate, Dave.
Horsegate.
Horse cancel culture.
Camels
came after
Horsegate.
Me. You're gone for a week, and this is what happens.
Camels Horsegate.
I never thought that's how it'd go down.
It's on YouTube. Look it up. Camels Horsegate.
They're going to have to upload a video titled that so someone can find it.
This is awesomeness. I'm just telling you. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
Do you love a good Dave Rant? Want to see the latest Ramsey Show videos going viral? Check out your favorite moments from The Ramsey Show on YouTube. Go watch and subscribe to The Ramsey Show channel on YouTube.